Hi, I'm Jonathan Little. I'm from Little Labs, and I'm the one who built the VOG, the Voice of God, which Universal Audio has done a plug-in version of. One of the first ones I want to show you is the ability of it to bring out the chest resonance of a voiceover artist or the chest resonance of a singer.
Everyone has their own sound, and if you're heard enough, folks will come to recognize it. Style, however, is a different thing. Try to express your own ideas. It's much more difficult to do, but the rewards are there if you're good enough to pull it off. Everyone has their own sound, and if you're heard enough, folks will come to recognize it. Style, however, is a different thing. Try to express your own ideas. It's much more difficult to do, but the rewards are there if you're good enough to pull it off.
Well, as you can see there, I was dialing it in, finding out where I felt the resonance didn't sound like honky, but it brought out that heft in his voice without losing the intelligibility of his voice. Don't be afraid, though, to use that amplitude on there, because what we're magnifying is a very small part of the spectrum. So it can narrow, it's so narrow, this peak, that it can find that and not affect anything above it. So don't be afraid to use it at the higher amplitude. When you're turning the frequency knob, it's very similar to tightening or loosening the pegs on the drum. So occasionally, if you have someone else who tracked the song and you found that the kick drum, when it, in the scheme of things, it hasn't been tuned properly, you can actually use the VOG to bring it up or down a little bit as far as in the frequency spectrum to make it sound like you're tightening or loosening the pegs. Sometimes on a bass you'll have like a bottom note that on some bass guitars you can't hear, and I'm going to show you how you can bring out a lot more of that bottom of the Hofner, or you could bring it in and make it really sound like you're almost close miking Paul McCartney's bass kind of sound. The last thing I want to show you is a tip that a guy who does orchestra work came up to me and said he'd been using the VOG for this application, which I thought was really smart. He finds a lot of times the timpani, which is often set in the back of the room, would get lost in the mix. So what I want to show here is how we can bring the timpani out. You can hear more impact of it in a stereo recording. The VOG is not just an effect, it's actually a very useful tool for focusing on your bottom end. It's a magnifying glass for your bottom end. Don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid of high amplitude use of it, because just a tiny bit of that low end might be what you need to make the track. And it's not going to be messing with the rest of the bandwidth, because it just gets in there very tidily, tightens up that bottom, and then gets out of the way. So feel free to use it, get creative, don't be afraid of it. The Voice of God, VOG. Hope you like it.